Excited about where this football team's at right now. Have continued to progress over the last couple weeks. We have an incredible challenge in front of us this week, playing on a Friday night on the road against a very good football team. There are no weaknesses with this USC team. Explosive offense, very talented defense, very efficient in their special teams play. They're incredibly talented in all three phases, at all three levels, and very, very well coached. With the style of offense that they play, it can be easy to fall into thinking that they're passing the ball all over the place. That's not the case. They're very balanced. They're running the ball very effectively, throwing the ball at a really high level. Scary operation, and defensively, the talent up front is something that really stands out. Ultimately, the way that USC went into a hostile environment at Nebraska and found a way to win a football game, I think, is reflective of, where Coach Riley has this team. They're finding ways to win football games. They're undefeated at home right now. They're 4-1 in the Big Ten. It's going to be an incredible challenge, but something that this group is looking forward to.
Coach, how did this bye week give you guys a chance to reset from the Nebraska loss? You said had potential to perhaps eat this group for a little bit, but also get you guys back to full health as well.
Yeah, really challenged our team coming off the Nebraska loss. This can either be something that weighs us down for a couple days, or it can be utilized as a springboard. For us to get back to work and find ways to get better and address things that need to be addressed. And the challenge over the bye week was, the mission was, to fine-tune the engine. And that looks a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, but part of it was getting our group back to as full health as possible, finding some young guys that can continue to develop in their roles, whether it be on special teams, offense, or defense. And then as a coaching staff, evaluating everything, not redefining who we are, but addressing the things that need to be corrected and ways that as a coaching staff we can put our players in a better position. But proud of the way that this group, has approached that, even going back to our first day of work on the Monday post-Nebraska.
Brandon? Coach, you talked about USC's passing offense, and Nebraska actually did a decent job at slowing that down. My novel was just 9 for 23. What do you think you guys can use that game as in terms of creating your defensive game plan?
Yeah, Nebraska all year has been one of the best in the country against the pass defensively. Thought Nebraska did a good job. At the end of the day, there's always opportunities as you evaluate film and evaluate what other people have done of just, taking context and taking information on things that we can utilize. I know USC is really proud of the way that they played and excited about the win. Also probably frustrated with some of the things that they felt like they left out there against Nebraska, but I think it's a testament to the quarterback, to Coach Riley, to that team. It really counted in the second half. They found ways to make plays, and that's a reflection of a good offense, of a good team.
Matt. Coach, there was a 3-game stretch where Preston seemed to really figure it out. We had 5-0 touchdown interception. Then over the last 2, it's been 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a 1-1 split. Has there been any impact to his health in that recent stretch, and what's his mentality been like coming out of this bye week?
Yeah, ultimately playing quarterback or playing any position in this league, like you're not going to feel the same at this point during the season. This bye week was a great opportunity for us to be mindful of guys that have played a lot of football and work to get guys back to full health. But ultimately Preston's a warrior. Continues to battle and he knows and understands, like, the formula for us is, he's got to play. He's a winner. He's got to play his brand of football, but part of that is not forcing the issue or forcing things. And when he's not doing that, when he's just playing in rhythm and playing within the offense, he's going to position us to win a lot of football games.
Coach, this conference is full of running backs. You saw one last week at Nebraska, unbelievable player, number 21, really something special. This week you're going to go up against an SC that platoons in several guys. They lost their first 2 starters in that game. Number 30 comes in and looks like he's the number 1 guy. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to see from them in their running game.
Yeah, it's a credit to to USC in the way that they've built that roster. I mean, the depth that they have in that running back room is really impressive, and it's showing up right now with some of the injuries that they've seen in that room. But they haven't missed a beat, and ultimately they're going to find ways to stress you with their tempo. They're going to find ways to stress you with their diversity in the run frames that you're going to see. Some of the gap scheme, especially out of spread formations, can be really difficult to defend. We got to do a great job of playing with leverage. We got to populate the football. We have to tackle well, and ultimately when missed tackles do happen, we got to do a great job of understanding our leverage, and pursuit's got to show up. But it's something that stands out even after those injuries at the running back position for USC is their run game has continued to thrive, and Coach Riley's been committed to it. It's a credit to him too.
Coach, another big-time runner is Caleb Komoafe. What do you think has allowed him to have such explosive plays this year, especially compared to last year?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. It starts up front with our O-line and tight ends. Ultimately, a running back, the more reps that they get and the more comfortable they get and the rhythm that they get into, I think you can see Caleb starting to get into that rhythm and get into a certain comfort level in the Big Ten, and just really trusting the guys up in front of them that, like, ultimately, a 4-yard gain in the run game, it's efficient. Like, we're going to celebrate that and on to the next. But he's found ways to be explosive, not by, searching for the explosive play, just trusting, what he's being coached, trusting that he can make people miss and break tackles. And the guys up front are doing a great job of straining and really getting connected, getting things headed up. That's putting them in a position to do that.
Coach, a few different injuries going into the Nebraska game, then also that cropped up during in the defensive backfield. Can you get updates on Damon Walters, Josh Fussell, and Jorge Day? Yeah,
all those guys, are going through different progressions. We're hopeful that all those guys are going to be available for Friday. But we'll know a lot more as we get into tomorrow's practice.
Coach, you're coming off a hostile environment in Nebraska, now headed down to USC. Is there anything that, you feel like you guys as a team learned from that first experience that you can take into USC, or anything that you would like to see your guys respond a little bit better this time around in a similar environment like that?
Yeah, I think there was a couple false start penalties at Nebraska, which were uncharacteristic of this team. We got officials around practice constantly in spring ball, fall camp, and even during the season. But continuing to hone into that, making sure we're playing disciplined football, not hurting ourselves. We have to do a better job of starting off the second half the right way. That kickoff return against Nebraska was a critical juncture in the game, and building our own energy and building our own momentum coming out of the half. And then ultimately just trusting our process in terms of the way that we practice and prepare our guys for a road game. Again, each environment has its own uniqueness to it, but this week looks very similar in terms of our prep that we had for Penn State, and for Nebraska in terms of crowd noise and, finding the balance between a routine at practice, but also throwing some curveballs and creating some chaos for our guys and forcing them to respond.
Coach, you talked about using the bye week to kind of fine-tune the engine. Obviously, USC doesn't have that luxury. They've got a short week. How do you guys think you as a staff can leverage that kind of scheduling advantage to make sure that your guys come out strong?
Yeah, I think you can play that a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's like, oh, great, we got to come off a bye week, but sometimes you can acquire some rust, throughout the bye week. As a coaching staff and a support staff, we're always concerned about a short week and a short turnaround. We experienced it for Western Illinois earlier this year. We experienced it last year with Maryland going on the road. Sometimes a short week can also almost be a good thing. You don't overthink it, and you get out there and you get your guys prepared to play. But ultimately, the opportunity that we had in front of us was last week. We had an opportunity to really focus on ourselves and begin our USC prep while also being mindful that this is a late bye week and an opportunity to get the team healthy. Was proud of the way that the guys handled last week. And so far this week, guys have been locked in, and you can tell that it's a group that's hungry to get back out on the field.
Coach, Anto Saka and Caleb Chan recently received invites to the East-West Shrine Bowl. I mean, just seeing how much they've poured into this program over the years, what does it mean to see their hard work rewarded? Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome for those two guys individually. It's awesome for this program. Ultimately, I think that is the first of more to come in terms of opportunities for guys on this team. And, you know, I voiced this to our team yesterday when we were able to announce that news to both Caleb and Anto and the team that, like, ultimately this is a reflection of their individual hard work and commitment. It's a testament to that, the longevity of that and the progress that they've seen and their performance on the field. And it's also a reflection of, you know, this program and the success that we're finding collectively. The thing I love about this group, the thing I love about Caleb Tiernan and Anto Saka is, like, they don't want that announced in front of the team. They don't want to make it about them. They just want to get to work and position themselves to be at their best, to go play really well Friday night. But it's a huge credit to those two. And, you know, both those guys have meant so much to this program, continue to mean so much, and continue to be great leaders and examples on this team.
Matt, what kind of tool is it for the staff as you go through your analysis this week to have a game like Nebraska USC where you're seeing your past opponent, future opponent from the week prior, week ahead meet up while you're on by?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. It is a great tool. I mean, ultimately, very familiar with Nebraska in terms of the recency of that game. Very familiar with our study of USC as we began prep, and you know, just an understanding of, you know, how is USC attacking Nebraska? How could that potentially correlate to how they're going to attack us? And you know, ultimately, in the Big Ten, the thing that continues to show up is, you know, ultimately you better be able to run the ball and stop the run. And, you know, a credit to USC. Nebraska may have found some efficiency in the run game, but ultimately SC was able to, you know, really bow up in the second half in critical moments. And, again, I don't know what the exact number was. I think it was somewhere around 230 yards. But SC was able to effectively run the football on the road in the Big Ten. That's a winning formula in this league.
And Coach, you talk about winning formulas in this league. Northwestern currently second in the Big Ten in time of possession. You've talked a lot about the explosive offense of USC. How important is it going to be to kind of shrink the game and shrink possessions to make sure those guys get as few chances as possible to really do damage? Yeah,
you know, Coach Riley in that offense, you know, for years now, but now specifically at USC, I mean, it's a scary operation. And, you know, if they're able to find rhythm, watch out. And, you know, obviously it's our defense's job when they're out on the field to be disruptive and not allow SC to get into rhythm. And they're going to make some big plays, and they're going to find ways at times to get into rhythm, but how do we get them back out of rhythm? And then obviously, you know, one of your best defenses against a team like that is not allowing them to possess the football. So that all has to interconnect as we prepare for Friday. And ultimately it's not asking anything out of our offense or our team that's any different than what we've talked about all year long. Ultimately, you know, we have to win the rushing battle, and one of the natural results of winning the rushing battle when you're running the ball efficiently is possessing the football, and that'll have to show up Friday night.
Charlie, you spoke a lot about player leadership throughout this year. How have you really seen that take fold following the loss to Nebraska and heading into the bye? Yeah, you know, I mean, I think it's things as simple but not easy is the way that, you know, guys' body language is, you know, Saturday right after the game. You know, obviously, like, disappointed, frustrated, sad, heartbroken, but, you know, not pointing fingers, not hanging their heads. I mean, like, chomping at the bit to get back to work. And, you know, I was, to be honest with you, I was curious / concerned about what Monday would look like coming back in with the team. And, I mean, you had an entire room, starting with our leaders, that were, like, on the edge of their seats. And even though it was an off day and we were simply reviewing film, we're like, Coach, give us the truth. Let's get back to work. And again, that's a credit to Cam Porter and Mac Uline and Carmine Bastone and Caleb Tiernan and Preston Snow. I mean, the list goes on and on. It doesn't just start and end with our captains. But it's as simple as just taking a snapshot of what our football team and what our leadership looks like a couple hours after the Nebraska game. And to the guys' credit, you know, you could tell they were already chomping at the bit to get back to work.
Coach, one guy on the O-line who's been a consistent performer has been Evan Beerson this season. I mean, what have you seen from him just in terms of his adaptation to the Big Ten level coming from the FCS, and what has he brought just in terms of his experience and all of football he's played?
Yeah, you know, Evan's brought a lot of toughness. He's brought a lot of consistency, a ton of experience. He's played a ton of football. You know, I was telling a pro scout the other day, And this isn't a knock on Evan. We were thrilled to get Evan into the program, but he is like exceeded expectations, you know. And again, like that, what a credit to Evan in terms of being able to make that adjustment from the FCS level into the Big Ten. But it all started with, you know, a great approach in the winter, a great spring ball, a great summer, a great fall camp. No complacency, no entitlement, like hungry to continue to get coached hard and get better. But he brings a certain level of like attitude and demeanor about him that is a really, really positive influence in that room.
Coach, you know, back in some of your earlier coaching days, you coached at UC Davis in California. You've been back out west a few different times, either in Vegas or Washington, but first time at Northwestern, you're in California. What's it like for you to be back in that state and then also get that chance for some of your California players to be back there as well?
Yeah, you know, I think it's awesome for our players. Awesome for even some of our coaches, you know, from that area. I mean, Coach Binns and his wife originally from Southern California. I know they'll have a huge crowd out there with him. Coach Thompson and crew is going to have a huge crowd out there. I know a lot of our players will. You know, Hayden Allegano was even joking with me before warm-ups this morning, like, Coach, excited to get this crew out to Southern California, back to my old stomping grounds. Really, really neat opportunity, and also like a fun challenge from a standpoint of how do we approach it to best position our guys for great performance Friday night. There's a balance. You got to be thoughtful of it, but also at the same time, you know, don't overcomplicate it. Get the guys into a rhythm, get them prepared to play, and when the ball goes down and it's time to kick off, it's time to get after it.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about possessing the ball, talking about controlling the game. A big part of that is finishing drives. You guys have been in the red zone 27 times, scored 12 touchdowns. What do you need to do against, especially a defense like USC's, to make sure that percentage goes up?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, you know, we have explored endlessly, you know, throughout the entire season, but specifically as we've continued to go through a couple bye weeks now. You know, ultimately, you know, you can scream it louder, you can message it, you can put it up on the wall, you can talk about it in a PowerPoint. At the end of the day, like, sometimes it becomes like you can almost get in your own head about it. We just need to communicate, get all 11 on the same page, and execute at the same level that we execute in other areas of the field. It can be more difficult to execute in that area of the field because windows are tighter in the pass game and there's more bodies in the box in the run game. But, you know, a lot of our issues, you know, in that area of the field have been things that are just, you know, get into the right spot in the pass game, being targeted right in the run game. Like, those are the things that we're imparting on our guys to focus on. And then from a coaching staff standpoint, you know, an exercise that we went through in our coordinator meeting last week is, you know, it was all of our coordinators, and this is a credit to Coach Lujan just in terms of his humility. Like, he wanted feedback from everyone. We went back and looked at, like, every tight zone series and, you know, what tendencies are you seeing, Tim? What are your thoughts here? Tim, what are things that challenge you in this area of the field? Like, just really good conversation around that. I know we talked a couple weeks ago about, you know, utilizing Ryan Bowe at Purdue, which that play didn't end up going well, but like, there is elements of like quarterback run game in that area of the field as there's more bodies in the box that you have to evaluate. A lot of conversations around it, but what I want our players focused on is simply just doing like the routine things well in terms of executing. And with that execution level rising, touchdowns should take care of themselves.
Coach, how would you assess the growth that you've seen out of Braden Turner this year as he's stepped into and really embraced that elevated role in the secondary?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like, I mean, Braden has an incredible skill set. That nickel star position is by far one of the most difficult positions to play in college football. But the greatest growth I've seen is like his consistency, his comfortability out on the field, the confidence that's building. But also his physicality, you know, whether it be involved in a run fit from the perimeter or asking him to get down and get in the mix for some bigger personnel groupings. You know, with Yanni Karloftis going down, his role has even increased more. And we're going to need Braden to be at his best here, you know, on the back end of the season.
Coach, since the last time that we've spoken, there have been a couple more schools, high-profile schools, that have made coaching changes mid-season. Just kind of looking generally at the sport as a whole, do you feel like almost the leash on, you know, coaches and how much leeway they're allowed to have is a little bit too short? Or given the amount of money that's flying around college football nowadays, is that a little bit more understandable to you? And just kind of thinking about your perspective and all that.
Yeah. Shoot, Gavin, it's hard. Ultimately, what you want to see in college football is people that hold the position of a head coach that are in it for the right reasons, and ultimately, it is more of a business than it's ever been before with the money involved. But, our ultimate task and charge is to help young men develop into men. And, when you get a person that, has that in mind and, understands what it looks like to develop young men, both as football players and people in that position, you hope that they have the time and the runway to do that. Like those that have been in this situation that understand it know that that's a progression. It doesn't, and I know Coach Signetti has done an unbelievable job in a short amount of time at Indiana, but typically, that's a progression. And not to dance around the question, but Craig Bohl at North Dakota State, I think they were 3-8 one season. And I'm sure Craig was feeling some pressure up at NDSU. The following year, they go to the national quarterfinals, and the year after that, they win their first FCS national championship. But Craig, built it from the ground up. You hope that as people go through the hiring process, they have those things in mind. They're really intentional about hiring the right person that's going to build it the right way, and they give the program time to do that. And, not to just give him a shout-out to give him a shout-out, but one of the things I appreciate most about Mark Jackson is he gets football. He's been in the inner workings of it with the Raiders and the Patriots and involved intimately with USC football when they were at their height. He gets what that progression looks like. But yeah, there's no doubt it's crazy right now.
Matt, kind of a similar question about kind of the coaching carousel landscape. A lot has changed in college football since you signed your long-term deal here. Whether that's revenue share or the limits on coaching staff. Have there been any changes or allowances to your deal to kind of accommodate the increased salary pool? And how have you lobbied to get some administrative changes to make the program more competitive?
Yeah, I mean, there's been, as we talked about post last year, we have to reimagine and not reinvent, but evaluate everything. The hiring of Christian Sarkisian, the way that we're structured as a staff, both operationally and communication lines. Unlimited coaches now. Are we where we need to be? No. But have we made progress and improvements? Absolutely. And, that's one of the things as a head coach you don't exactly enjoy, but it's just part of your job, of those communications with Mark Jackson and administration of okay, these are our goals. What are the things that we need to make sure that we're doing to make those goals something that we think is not only realistic, but something that's a sustainable model? And what I feel abundantly confident is that we got the support with Mark and others to build something really special at Northwestern.
And to that point, you said that you're still not necessarily where you want to be. What are some of the areas that you're still looking to improve on?
At the end of the day, we don't have to have the biggest staff in the country. Some of these staffs and we can do more with less. We can do more with efficiency and alignment. But again, continuing to evaluate, in the revenue share world, how many resources are you putting in the scouting and recruiting, retention piece of things? And then also, how are you maximizing your coaching staff? Some of the most critical times of the team's development are in times that we're supposed to be out on the road. And in the old model, your 10 countable coaches that are directly coaching your guys are the ones that are also out on the road in May. Critical time, especially being a quarter school. Would like us to continue to evaluate how we maximize that to be best in scouting and recruiting, but also be very present with our team in those developmental times.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.